working for big corporate brands allows you to have an experience that, a typical SME can't afford to risk and do all these kinds of risky moves. So there were a lot of things that I learned, and mostly I worked in tech. So after graduation, worked in a bank at first and eventually moved to tech. I worked for HP, I worked for Nokia at the high days of Nokia mobile phones. Mm-hmm. And when I came to Malaysia, I worked for Microsoft. So working for tech giants was really exciting, especially at the height of the revolution of the internet and IT, right? So that was really, in a way, mind-blowing. It was exciting. It was being part of the change that was happening in the world. So definitely wouldn't change a thing.
And after some good 12 years, what made you decide to give that up and start your own business?
I think just like many, many mothers out there, after they have their first child, they go through some change, which is very emotional, physical, psychological. So with that change, I think there's a few women who will be out there like me who would start questioning time. They start questioning purpose. They start questioning what's next. So that really gave me a perspective of the next chapter. So the first chapter was corporate life, being part of something big. And after I had my daughter, I realized that, you have this person who's relying on you and who will need your time. And I realized that if I went back to corporate and stayed there and climbed, the ever growing ladder, I won't have that time with her. So I decided that if this is not where I want to be, then I should stop at this point. So that makes you brave. I think becoming a mother makes you very brave in many, many ways. And that prompted me to leave, take a 2 years sabbatical in a way, like 2 years of reflection, did odd jobs here and there. And eventually that's, the moment that you start to discover what you want to do. And that's how I started Legisaria eventually.
Wow. Tell us more about your self-discovery period. Like, what did you do most days? How do you feel? What did you find out about yourself?
Definitely a lot of discoveries of self because there's a lot of time for yourself. Unlike when you're working, you're always busy for somebody, right? Busy for the schedule, for the meetings, for the colleagues, for the numbers that you have to chase. But suddenly, after I left Microsoft, it was just me, Annabelle, housewife, right? Housewife, a mother. And there was a lot of time for self-reflection. And it can be lonely because at that time, my daughter was 1. I had a helper who was with me. And I used to have, adult conversations, really intelligent ones. And suddenly you see all your friends go by doing the same busyness while you have all the time in the world. But using that time, you also discover many things that you wanted to do. And you discover that, I've got time for baking now. I've got time to exercise every day. So you pick yourself up, you look at the opportunity that you have on hand, and you get going. You get discovering, doing all sorts of things that I would never do on a normal day because I was busy at work. So I would say that it's lonely, but it is full of discoveries, and sometimes being alone and having moments of reflection allows you to understand yourself better. And if I didn't have that 2-year break, I wouldn't have started Legisaria. So I do recommend, reflective moments, even if it's not a 2-year break like mine. Even a 10 minutes meditation is your time, right? It's your time to rethink what has happened the day before and how you want your day to kind of unfold for the day. So highly recommended.
I mean, it's been a few years now since 2013. How do you think your thought as a business person has changed, like compared to when you were working for big tech companies to from a startup to now like 10 outlets across Kuala Lumpur? What's your thoughts now?
As a worker, as a professional worker, you are very proud of working for companies that really stand out, and you're proud to give your name card. You're proud to say, I'm part of this group. You're happy to make decisions together with the management. However, the tables change the moment you become Annabelle Lajuseria. And at that time, Malay, if I gave my card to a Malay, he would say Laju Cheria. Mm-hmm. If I gave it to a Chinese, they would say Lajusa. You know,
mm-hmm.
so suddenly it was like, did I name it correctly? Do the Malaysians get it? How do I do this? So suddenly there's no confidence in the first few, I would say in the first few months, you are finding yourself. You're finding the culture of the company. You're finding the foothold of where you're going to go. Unlike working for the big companies, they've sorted that out. All you needed to do is report for work. I've got a name card that says Annabelle and I'm from Microsoft. I work at the Twin Towers. Everyone knew where that was.
Yeah.
But the moment you create your own thing, you are the only number one salesperson of any company you will create. So remember that you could hire people, you could have investments from people, and you could have money, but nobody will be a better salesman than yourself, than your partners, than the co-founders, because all of you speak the same language with the same hope, with the same dreams, with the same passion. It will always be within, very different from an employee who, they will speak the same language. They may say the same thing, but the thought process might be different. So I try my very best to explain my decision-making to at least my marketing team so that they could understand and make the same decisions the way I do it. Because one day, I hope for them that they become entrepreneurs in their own way, whether as an entrepreneur mindset working for other people or on their own journey, maybe years from now, they become entrepreneurs. I think that showing up to work really happy to contribute is a big thing. So that's one thing that I've seen across, despite working for big companies and having our own little company as a startup, showing up every day with gratitude that I'm going to do this. I'm going to contribute. I'm going to make the most out of today because I can do it. So I think if you have gratitude and you have this passion for living life at that moment, right? That one day where you could drive to work, listen to your music, contribute in a team, do whatever you can because physically you are capable of doing it, and ending the day safely at your home, that's more than many people can ask for. So that's something that I would say across working for other people and even working on my own and eventually having our own team, show up every day, excited, happy, and looking forward to any new opportunities that can complete and seize the day.